Hi everybody, how you doing? This is Tracing Roots and Telling Tales, Genealogy, Telling Tales Tuesdays. When will I get that title right? Uh, Genealogy with Donna, and this is episode 37. My goodness, been doing this a long time. So who's the family's mystery? Who in the family is the mystery? I come across the mysteries all the time. I don't know about you when you're doing a tree. So every tree has one person, and I will say it's not just one person, but who shows up, stirs curiosity, and then disappears like they owed somebody money. My mystery person is the gentleman that my great-grandmother adopted his name, though I have yet, is that word. I haven't found the marriage certificate yet, though I have seen two documents, one an obituary, so that's not really a source, but it's a reference, and then another one where it was a source that she was his wife. Now, they had no children together. She had children from her first husband, and he died at the age of 39. So he died in maybe 1913 of a heart attack, and he was a successful mercantile entrepreneur, and he had more than one shop, so that was cool, and that was in Maine. Fast forward sometime my grandparents came from Massachusetts, and they came to California in 1922. And they came because my grandmother was pregnant with their second child, and my grandfather couldn't afford to finish his last semester at MIT, so they came west, which is where he always wanted to come and work in the oil industry, which he did. And he, made his mark, etc., etc. I believe that my great-grandmother came after that. She did not come with them. And I think when they lost the second child is when my great-grandmother came. Now, this is all supposition. I have no proof yet. Again, the key word yet. But be that as it may, in piecing together these things, this is what I think happened. I know that my great-grandmother was here when my mother was born in January of 1926, which leads me to believe that Bertha was probably here in 1924. Okay, let's see here. So I do not know exactly when Stedman Ingle, which is the purported husband of Bertha, and I believe that was after 1940. In 1940, I show them after April on the census together. So that's where it started. Interesting, I had not investigated him. I left it alone. I have been to her gravesite, and there is one grave between she and him. He died in 1952. She lived until 1971. So there's there's lots of years in between. Anyway, so when I go to investigate him, he'd been married a few times before, and he had 3 children from those relationships, 1 boy and 2 girls. I have investigated the boy, who lived until 2001, and he actually lived in Leisure World in Laguna Hills. Small world. Anyway, Stedman was born in Kansas, and the first record I have of him being in Los Angeles is when he enlisted in the Navy for the Spanish-American War. So I did a little research. I've been down a rabbit hole since last Tuesday to try and find some information on him. So here's what I know. He was in the Spanish-American War. There actually is a journal ledger entry He was 18 at the time. The Spanish-American War lasted from April to August of 1898. Short war. It was fought both in the Caribbean, which included Cuba and Puerto Rico, and it was fought in the Philippines and in Guam. In fact, there's a Battle of Manila Bay. And Stedman enlisted in California in 1898, actually on April 25th of 1898. He was 18 years old. In 1900, at the age of 20, I have him attending Stanford. Now, Stedman J. Ingle is a very odd name. It's not like Tom Williams or Michael Johnson or any kind of what we would consider a common name. It is a very different name. So I do have paperwork that shows that he was at Stanford, living in Santa Cruz, and he was there 2 years, and he was studying to be an electrical engineer. Those things I know. I have documentation for it. Now, I have to fast forward to he's working for the Postal Service. So I'm not quite sure how you go from studying to be an electrical engineer. Maybe you can't break into, maybe in those years, which are the early 1900s, maybe there isn't, an opportunity there. But the government is hiring as a mail carrier or postal worker, and you grab onto it. I can't blame you there. Work is work. And you're a young man, and I believe you may have started a family. So this is how it goes. I do show him in a marriage. I love this one. I show him in a marriage in 1905. He's 25. I show him in another marriage with a different woman in 1910. He's now 30. And he has a daughter. I then show him, and his son is born in 1914. And George is the one that died when he was living at Leisure World in Laguna Hills. And 1914 is the same year that Mike's dad was born. So, I can kind of put things together. So in 1916, there is a voter registration in which Stedman declines to state his party affiliation, but they do give the occupation of postal service. In World War I, 1917, he has a draft card. And the draft says he is a traveling salesman. And this actually is in New York City, though he had a residence from 1917 to 1980 in Los Angeles on 5th Street. Now, after 1940, we have him associated with my great-grandmother Bertha, and from then on, his addresses are in Los Angeles or Montebello. Past that, I do not have anything more, but it's interesting that I do have him living either in East LA in 1950 when he is 70, but he did live 2 years longer than that. He died in 72, actually in December of 1952. He's buried in Forest Hills, Hollywood Hills, and it is on a hill, close proximity to my great-grandmother. Now, I also know that in the 1940 census, I believe it is, my Uncle Jack has been divorced, and at the age of 55, he is living with them. My Uncle Jack was a painting contractor, and I find it interesting. I need to do research now on my Uncle Jack. I knew him. I didn't know a whole lot about him at the time he was married. That was his second marriage. He was married to a lady that had two thumbs on one hand, And that's about all I know. They lived in Carpinteria. They lived a very comfortable life. And I can't remember when he passed away, but he lived a very long life. So that will be the next person that I need to investigate, because that would be my grandmother's brother. And I really haven't paid a lot of attention to him. And I will have to do so. So that's my assignment for next week. And in doing family trees, do you spend Thanksgiving with a portion of your family? Is it an opportunity for you to talk about your family tree and maybe members that you haven't forgotten about, stories that you can tell and perhaps add to your tree? This is the perfect time to do it. And if you want to remember voices, I encourage you to record the stories because I can't remember the voices. My great-grandmother's voice, specifically my grandfather's voice. I love the man today, even though he died in 1962. I carry him in my heart, and I just wish I could remember the sound of his voice. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. Please drive safe, and let me know if you've got any questions, or you've got some trees that you're investigating the branches of, and if I can do anything to help, let me know. Anyway, take care. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.